bullied the home Ravens for 3.5 hours. Super aggressive. And you think of Baltimore as tough and physical and resilient. Now, this defense is just as soft as the Dallas Cowboys defense. Baltimore's last in total defense. They surrender a ton of yards. I don't want to hear about the pass rushers they were missing. That wasn't about pass rushing last night. They invested a lot of money in Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, their top 2 draft picks. They got over $100 million on defense, and they're soft. And by week 4 and 5 in the NFL season, we're getting to be a quarter of the way through it. Some of your problems you can't solve unless at the trading deadline you take a big swing. So this was 3.5 hours of total domination. It may have been 38-30. It felt like 48-17. And here's the weird thing, is that Lamar Jackson is so explosive that when he does lead a scoring drive, it's often very quick. So they send that crappy defense back on the field. They don't get any rest. So the Ravens, bizarrely, have the second fewest plays per drive in the league and the number 1 total offense. So they don't play complementary football. And if you look at the last 10 Super Bowls, which is 20 total teams, there's been one awful defense, Atlanta. What happened to Atlanta in that Super Bowl? They blew a huge lead. You're not a Super Bowl team with that defense. So the Ravens have a huge dilemma, which I don't know if it's solvable, is that they score because they're so dynamic with Lamar Jackson. He's so gifted. They score quickly, and then the defense doesn't get a rest. It goes right back onto the field. It's not complementary football. Like last year, the Lions defense stunk. But the Lions were number 2 in the league last year in time of possession. So at least they kept their average defense on the sidelines, and they won 15 games. That's not what Baltimore does. Plus, they got a Derrick Henry fumbles in imperfect times issue. So, and again, by week 4, week 5, you kind of know what your issues are. I mean, the Lions had 96-yard drive and 70-yard drive and 98-yard drive and 60-yard drive. They did whatever they wanted to do. And if you look at the Baltimore game, their defense against Detroit last night, and the Ravens' defense against Buffalo, combined, those 2 games, they only forced those teams to punt 3 times. 3 times out of 13 total possessions. So I went this morning and looked at the Ravens' defense, their NFL rank. They're last, 30th, 31st, and everything. Yeah, they were missing a couple pass rushers. That wasn't about pass rush. Detroit was in control. I mean, by the third quarter, every time Baltimore sent that defense out to make a stop, they couldn't. So the Ray Lewis, Ed Reed days are over. This defense doesn't do a lot well. They've spent money on it, and bizarrely, they score too quickly.
Yeah. So, listen, Colin obviously really focused and highlighted the defense. And I think everything he said is completely fair. Completely fair, completely fair, completely fair. But it's also letting the offense off the hook right now. And the culture of this team off the hook. This wasn't a defensive loss of this game. This was a culture loss. Just like for the Detroit Lions, it was a culture win. This game was still in the balance. Okay? The Ravens were down by 4. And the team looked like they were down by 24 with like 10 seconds left to go. And it was just, they're just kneeing and now we're leaving. I mean, it just, in a week of us seeing some of the craziest wins with like 3 blocked field goals in the span of like 4 minutes all around the league. I mean, seeing the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, take a page out of the Kansas City Chiefs book. How they had no business being in the game against the Eagles. No business being in the game against the Chargers. And yet, in that fourth quarter, you'd have no idea. You'd have no idea. And they still made it come down to the wire. And what happens with this Baltimore Ravens team, even just after that fumble, it was just like, it was over. Troy Aikman got up and was just like, listen, they got to like calm Derrick Henry down now. They got to get him, mentally right and in the game right now because like they're going to need him. And like nobody was ready to rise to the occasion here. And Lamar Jackson still, every time he doesn't get what he wants on the field, he's like, he bangs the football on the ground. Derrick Henry smashing his helmet. It's like, what are you guys doing right now? Like, you're the monsters of the team. You're the leaders of the team. Like, where's the focus here? But they keep cutting to the bench, and everyone's just sulking on the sidelines. It's like, what are you doing? The game is still winnable here. Like, what are you guys doing here? Where's the focus? Where's everyone getting together and discussing and talking about what they need? So that's why it's like, yeah, this defense, this is all true. That's fine. But the other stuff is like, that's inexcusable to me. It's inexcusable. And listen, a lot of those sacks were on Lamar Jackson. A lot of those sacks. You can't just be like, oh, what do you want him to do? The O-line. And also, Derrick Henry had one huge run, then did nothing else. And then they barely even gave him the ball. I've never seen a team abandon the run and abandon their monster of a running back more than the Baltimore Ravens. I think he had that one huge run, and then I think he had 10 other carries for the night. That's it. Only 10 other carries. And again, in this very broadcast, the Lions were having a little bit of trouble running the ball, and Aikman was like, credit to them to just, and their new offensive coordinator to not abandoning the run. They knew that they wanted to keep running, and even when it wasn't exactly working, they still stuck with it. And lo and behold, it certainly worked for them. I mean, they ended up running the ball, 38 times for 224 yards, 5.9 yards per carry. The Baltimore Ravens run a fraction of that. I think it was 17 carries. Let me see. It was 17 carries until the very end of the game, and then you got up to 19 on that final drive, which at that point, the game was obviously over. I don't know. I think it's inexcusable. I really, really do. I mean, so many of these plays, so much of this offense even, it's just, there's just absolutely no rhythm to it. And it still is just very much like, just call a hike and let Lamar Jackson kind of just do his thing. And it becomes unsustainable because it's just it's not a sustainable way to play football. You can put up a lot of points. You can have a lot of success. But you can't consistently rely on that style of play in the biggest moments, the moments that matter most. So then you have a bunch of drives that just go nowhere. You have devastating sacks when you should just throw the ball away. Throw the ball away and live for another down. And I've never seen Lamar Jackson be so unsure of himself. I mean, he usually moves left, right, up, down, backwards, all over the place in service of making a big play. This time around, he was doing it, and it felt like you were playing a video game and someone just dropped the controller. I mean, there was lanes for him to run that he was then just not taking. It was really surprising. It reminded me of how after they lost to the Eagles, how he was just like, man, his mom told him, like, what are you doing? You should have run here or whatever. And he was just like, he's like, I'm just, I got to get back to my brand of football. And it was just like, he wasn't doing that. He was just unsure of himself. It was like he didn't know whether he wanted to run or throw or what. Like, I can't recall the last time I ever saw Lamar Jackson just look uncomfortable in that regard. And he still obviously made amazing plays because he's Lamar Jackson. And he put up a great box score, but like that wasn't a great game from Lamar. I mean, it just wasn't. I expect way more for Lamar Jackson. Way more for Lamar. And then I feel frustrated because I said this on yesterday before this game was even played. I'm looking at this Baltimore Ravens team, and I'm like, listen, the Kansas City Chiefs are far from complete right now. Far from complete. They don't look great. Patrick Mahomes is not playing great. They're not at full strength. And I'm thinking to myself, the Baltimore Ravens have no excuse not to win this game. they better absolutely positively beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Because if you can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs when they're not even playing their best and at full strength, then when are you going to be able to beat them? Like, this is Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Like, you better put on an avalanche of points offensively. And now, after this game, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Jeez. I don't know, man. I mean, I just don't understand why the Baltimore Ravens so consistently just don't look like they're ready to play, or they're ready, or they understand what they need to do in the moment. I mean, it's been like this it just continues to be this way. Like I said, look around the league. Look at how the Kansas City Chiefs operated in the fourth quarter against the Chargers or against the Eagles. Look how the Eagles operated in the entire second half against the Rams. Look at the Lions, how they had 4th and 2, and they went for it, which directly went to, that led to a win. The Baltimore Ravens, they punted. So that's what I'm saying. Don't just look at the defense. Yeah, that's a problem. No doubt about it. But we still got to talk about the other things, though, too. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. We could be like, oh, well, if the defense was better, then we would be better, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, that's all true. But at the same time, you still got to tell the whole story. You still got to tell the whole story. And this was still a game that the Ravens could have won, should have won, despite their defense not playing, as well as you would hope. But, like, I don't know. I'm watching that game, and I'm just like, I think the Ravens should still be able to find a way. Okay, they need to score here. They should be able to find a way. And they just didn't. The offense was just like, it was just, meh. And I was like, wait, what? What is this right now? So I find it incredibly, incredibly frustrating. And I think if the takeaway from this game is, well, the defense just isn't good enough. What do you want to do? It's like, no. The offense wasn't good enough. The offense only scored 24 points until that, the final drive. So let's be serious here. It's not like the offense put on, a show here, because they didn't. And when we saw other teams light up this Lions defense, or make this Lions defense look uncomfortable the whole time, I just asked myself, why couldn't the Ravens offense do that? And don't just tell me, oh, well, the O-line. Justin Herbert was pressured 26 times. Jalen Hurts 16 times. Patrick Mahomes 15 times. Jordan Love 14 times. Trevor Lawrence 15 times. Lamar Jackson was pressured 16 times. It was all within range. I mean, Justin Herbert was pressured 10 more times than Lamar Jackson, but was still sacked less. Was sacked twice, 2 times less. Jalen Hurts was pressured the same amount of times, 16. Took 3 less sacks. I mean, it's okay to throw the ball away. Patrick Mahomes was pressured 15 times, was only sacked twice. Like this, there needs to be more evolution. Seeing a pressure to sack percentage of 43.8% from Lamar Jackson, I'm stunned by that. I am absolutely positively stunned by that. And he had the most amount of time. I mean, you see 3.42 time to throw. Justin Herbert 2.85, Jalen Hurts 2.9, Patrick Mahomes 2.6. Yeah. To just focus on the defense right here is a big mistake from my viewpoint. Because you need the offense to play significantly better. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens? How do you feel about this loss on Monday? How do you feel about moving forward with this team, especially facing the Kansas City Chiefs? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.